Hello, this is Artemis_anime, and today I am reading Chapter 2 of Aizawa and His Kitten Son by sleepyoongs. Izuku, you know I have to go to work. Let go. The ragdoll cat merely growled as he held tighter onto Aizawa. Apparently, Izuku was feeling clingy, and Aizawa? He was going to be late if he continued to fight Izuku on not coming. If you can change into your other form, you can go, Aizawa said. And for a moment, Izuku looked as if he was pouting even more to the suggestion. Though the cat, thankfully, without much complaint, his body shifted into a teenager. Said teenager was a little short and had dark, messy, long green curls that was tied back into a ponytail. Izuku also had doe green eyes and peppering freckles that kissed across his cheek, jawline, and nose. Okay, Dad, I'm ready to go. Aizawa could only sigh. He knew the day was going to be long. You brought Zuku, Kayama squealed as she tackled the poor teenager with a death-squeezing hug. Yeah, Mom, too tight. Mom, Vlad yelled out in a choke as he stared at the boy who was trying to get away from Kayama's death hold. He calls Namuri Mom, Aizawa lazily explains as he moved to the couch to pass out face first and hopefully get some sleep. Uncle Sashi, get her off! Izuku whined to the voice hero, who came to the rescue of the poor cat-teen hybrid. Namuri, come on, you're gonna suffocate him, Yamada said with a small smile as he ruffled the teen's hair, earning a soft, content rumble from Izuku despite the fact that he was anything but content. Oops, my bad. Sorry, baby. Once the sweet air and freedom was gained to Izuku, he took the liberty to trot over next to his dad, who was trying to take a nap. But of Izuku, pointed at the man's cheek repeatedly until he earned a low groan from him. Izuku, Aizawa said in a low, warning tone. Dad? Izuku, being the mischievous cat he is, wittily replied back with a sly grin. Did you say Dad? Snipe wondered, in horrified awe. Oh, I believe so, 13 said, as she stared between the father-son duo. Izuku was now curled up in the arms of Aizawa, getting ear scratches and head pats. The hybrid was instantly knocked out by the actions. Oh my god. He's a parent, Vlad said in a horrified tone as he stared with his eyes widened and his jaw slacked. Izuku was back being a small ragdoll kitten. He was tired, still, and demanded Aizawa to carry him in his capture scarf. Aizawa couldn't say no to the kitten eyes, and Izuku knew that. He relented and carried his son to Class 1A, who of course saw the cat cuddled in his chest. Sir, you shouldn't bring animals on school property. It is against school rules. Oh my gosh, you're so loud. Izuku hopped off of the scarf and switched back to being his teenage form, with a begrudging and exasperated huff. Did that cat become a human? Kaminari questioned, with his eyes wide. No, it became a Yes, it became a fucking human, dumbass! Bakugo yelled at Kaminari with his palms sparking in annoyance. Sensei? What's going on? Why is there a boy here? Uroka asked, as her brows pinched together in her own confusion. He refused to stay at home. I was going to be late. I really didn't feel like dealing with a clingy cat. Hey! Izuku squawked, offended, and Aizawa rolled his eyes and continued talking as if he wasn't interrupted. Now this is Izuku. He may seem as though he's a simple cat quirk, but it's really the opposite. He's a cat, and it can be a human. Similar, but not the same. That seemed to spark interest in the others, who all had raised their hands. Even the ones who typically stayed quiet and rather not talk had their hands raised. Questions after class, Aizawa said, not missing a beat. The class groaned to this, but accepted fate. It was after class, and Aizawa dreaded it. The class was practically buzzing in their seats with questions. Izuku, the little shit, shifted back into his cat form in the middle of his lesson and thought it would be funny to sleep on one of his students. Specifically, that student was Todoroki, who was more than enthralled with the cat. It's after class, sir. You said we could ask questions, Ashido squealed, earning a slight flinch from Izuku, who instantly woke up from the loud noise. Ow! He meowed, in an unpleasant and unhappy tone. Sorry, Izuku, Ashido sheepishly apologized, while Izuku gave a low purr and curled back into himself. I did say after class. All right, ask away, Aizawa said, relenting, and a tired sigh. Right away, hands raised excitedly, with teens bouncing in their seats to be picked so they could have their questions answered. Asui, Aizawa lazily said, pointing at the first he saw. There were a few ahs and a few pouts, but nothing too serious. Geru, you said Izuku is a cat who has a quirk. How did you find this out? When Izuku was only a couple months old, I took Izuku to the vet, and he seemed like he was really sick. The vet ran some tests on him and found out that his body was just trying to adjust to the quirk. Oh, sir, does that mean he doesn't have to be a cat? Toru soon asked, her uniform bouncing and showing how excited she was. Technically no, but after a day he gets tired, Aizawa lazily stated, before pointing to another student whose hand shot up. Does that mean he's your pet or your son? Of course, Kaminari asked, and without hesitation, Aizawa responded. He's my son, Kirishima. Ignoring the coos, Aizawa picked out Kirishima to ask his question. So, if he's human, does he go to school? And does adolescent things? Yes and no. He wanted to go to school, so he's doing online school. He doesn't have to do any of these things, but he does anyway. The once sleeping cat mewed in displeasure of what Aizawa said before hopping elegantly off Todoroki and transforming. I do so only because I don't want to waste this side of me. Why would be a human only to be an idiot? Izuku huffed out, and nearby, Hiro gave a snicker and teasing look to Kaminari. See? Even a cat craves knowledge more than you, Pika. She teased lightly, and the other teen just stuck out his tongue and gave a raspberry. Yamada came to switch classes with Aizawa, which the normally excitable blonde was even more excited at the sight of Izuku, who was still on the half-and-half teen's lap. Izuku, come here, kitty! Yamada called out to the cat, and immediately, Izuku woke up from his slumber and bolted over to Yamada. Arr! The kitty cat tried to crawl up the man's leg. Yamada easily lifted up the cat and placed him up onto his shoulder. Whoa, sensei! Izuku must really like you, Kirishima pointed out, and Yamada, he chuckled nervously, suddenly remembering the times Izuku, in fact, did not like him. This is a new development, believe it or not, little listeners. I used to be bitten by Izuku here. Yamada pouted, but soon cheered up when he felt the vibrations of purrs on the back of his neck. What did you do to him? Todoroki had questioned, and Yamada could only give a sheepish smile as he answered, stepped on his tail. Izuku, hey there, kitty. You want to go to lunch with us? Uraraka asked as she approached Todoroki, since Izuku was curled up on the half-and-half teen's lap. Yeah, ask Dad, Izuku lazily said once he jumped down off Todoroki to switch into the human transformation once again. Okay. Aizawa, can Izuku go to lunch with us? Uraraka asked, her tone pleading and her eyes wide with puppy eyes. I don't care, Aizawa gruffly replied, and Uraraka smiled brightly at his answer. Looks like you're coming to lunch with us, kitty, she said, reaching up to pet behind his ears. Izuku, never one to be rejecting ear scratches, leaned into the touch with a loud, low, rumbling purrs erupting into the room. Yeah. Izuku started to dissolve into non-tangible, high-pitched mews and meows as his tail thwacked the floor in a rapid motion. Oh my gosh, he's so precious! Ashido squealed as she took out her phone to record the scene in front of her. Hey there, kitty cat, a gruff voice said as a purple-haired teen slid between Izuku and Todoroki. Hito? Izuku questioned as he started to purr lowly at the sight of Aizawa's student, who was also training to be a hero. Izuku knew Shinzo from the times that he would come by Aizawa's apartment to spend the night, or even multiple nights at a time. Izuku knew that Aizawa was working on getting Shinzo in his care, since his living situation was no good. Izuku hoped Aizawa could get Shinzo in his care soon, since besides his dad and technically Kayama, since she also didn't count, she was his mother figure, Shinzo was his favorite person, and it would be nice to have a brother. The one and only Zu, Shinzo said, with a grin as he gave head ruffles and ear scratches that made Izuku melt further and sink into the brainwashing teen. Shinzo? Why are you over here? Not that we mind or anything, but we've been trying to be your friend for the longest time, but... Okay, what the dumbass here is trying to say is, what the hell are you doing over here, you mind fuck? Bakugo interrupted Kaminari's rambling fail to explain himself. Oh, well, I know Izuku, Shinzo plainly responds, while still scratching behind Izuku's ears. That is more than obvious. I believe they meant how, Yajirozu asked, and all she got for a response from the purple-haired teen was a shrug. Well then, Yajirozu murmured at the lack of an answer. Kayama came into the classroom with a bigger grin than usual. That already scared this class, especially knowing how Kayama was, next to Aizawa, known for being a bit sadistic with her teachings. Midnight Sensei, are you good, or... Ashido questioned, and as soon as she did, a loud squeal was heard from somebody. Mom! Izuku cheered, blitzing forward to the classroom to tackle the heroine with a tight hug. Zu! Kayama matched his energy and happily received the hug, deciding to ignore the chaos in the back of the room. Excuse me, but Mom? Ashido yelled out in shock. I can't believe he just said that, Yajirozu muttered, with her hand over her mouth as she watched the apparent mother and son duo. So we aren't gonna receive any context for this? Or... Jiro spoke up, and then she received no answer. She murmured a low, okay then. What the fuck? Does that mean Aizawa and Midnight is a thing? She said, and soon the class went silent as all eyes turned to her with a mixture of disgust or horrified fear. Maybe a bit of both. Shut your mouth and never say such cursed things again, Kaminari cried. He actually cried. I am here. Ah! Who let a cat in here, and whose cat is that? All Might yelped when he felt the sharp teeth of Izuku sink into his leg. Izuku, Aizawa tiredly said, with a long, suffering sigh. I thought we were past this biting phase when you forgave Sashi. Why'd you bite All Might? Aizawa asked the cat, who huffed with his tail fluffing up in annoyance while his ears flattened. Oh, you hate loud people. That explains a lot. A whole lot. We're not gonna keep the cat here, are we? All Might asked, with a peering gaze down to Izuku. Sensei, no offense, but you're gonna have to whisper, because I think if you think of trying to throw out Zuko, Uraraka trailed off as she gave a grin that held an edge to it. She didn't finish what she had to say, but she didn't need to. The threat was understood completely. Yes, all right then. Noted, young Uraraka, All Might said, with a shaken tone as all eyes shifted between the protective class and the cat who seemed a bit too smug due to this fact. Sensei, you're going to bring Izuku back, right? Todoroki asked as he watched the cat be placed inside of the capture scarf of Aizawa's. If I didn't, Izuku will bug me, Aizawa muttered, and the cat inside his scarf gave an affirmative meow. Can we come and visit him? Uraraka was bold enough to ask, which earned Ida's reprimanding about teachers' privacy, though for the most part she ignored him like the rest of the class. No. Yes! Within the blink of an eye, Aizawa was holding a teenager, who was also glaring up at him for daring to say no. I'll listen to the cat, Uraraka said as she whistled and grinned towards Izuku. As you should. I'm the boss. Izuku also grinned, though his was a touch more wild and held a touch of feral within it. Of course you are, Izuku, was all Aizawa could say with a long-suffering sigh. Notes. This was really fun to write. Izuku calling Namuri mom causes a lot of misunderstandings is something I enjoy way too much. Though, I hope you enjoyed this part. Thanks for reading. Notes. This is really self-indulgent. Like, on the scale of 1 to 10, how self-indulgent? It'll be a freaking 12. But that's fine. I needed this, so I wrote it. And that was Aizawa and His Kitten Son by sleepyoongs, Chapter 2 out of 2. I'll see you next week. Bye!